Good evening, everybody. I'm quite a quiet speaker, so I will try and speak up loudly. I wanted to speak today about interior design, because obviously I'm an interior designer, but also I wanted to talk and divide it up into different sections, so bear with me. And I don't mind if you ask me any questions along the way. I'm quite happy to answer anything. So my name is Sara Corker, and my company is Sara Corker Designs. We're an interior design company, and we're based in South Godstone. We've been in operation for over 20 years. And I got a degree in interior design in London, American College in London. When I had my son, who's sitting in the audience, who works with me today, I also used to teach. So I'm a trained teacher, and I also write articles for the industry. So I absolutely love interior design, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. The whole family, my husband's a builder, so we often work on projects together, and we work on projects separately. So these are some of the projects I wanted to run through with you and just explain the process. Okay. We worked with a lady that lives in Berlin, and she wanted us to refurbish an apartment for her that she lets out. So she gave us a title, really. We never saw the client. I've never met her. I've met her recently after the project was finished. But she said she wanted a Scandinavian, well, she wanted a sort of a cool look. The flat was very chintzy, it had swags and tails, very, very fancy, very over the top, and so we wanted to create a different look. And she was actually spending quite a lot of money because she changed the kitchens, but she didn't change the bathrooms. So she had a certain amount of budget, and we were trying to cater for that. So the pictures are a little bit dark, because it was north facing. But just to say that I put her in touch with an estate agent, and they actually raised the amount of money that she could get on a monthly basis by about £200 or £300, and it let within about a week or so. So we were very happy about that. So this is the front room and dining room area. The front room at the back, the dining room had some lights hanging down. Unfurnished. We sometimes do unfurnished, and this was one of the ones. And we had a budget. Often clients do have a budget. Well, actually, they all have a budget at all times. So we were trying to make it look as appealing to as many people as possible. So unfortunately, a lot of people think that interior designers do everything in neutral, and it's because we do. Because a lot of people can't visualize what something's going to look like. 20% of the population can visualize. And that's why you have people like me, interior designers or hairdressers or people that are in the creative market that can see the finished look. So often we go into an area and we can see how it's going to look before it's finished, but clients can't do that. So that's why they employ you to do that. And also they want to get a better return on their investment, and that's why they're relying on you to do that. So these are the 2 bedrooms that we did. This is a job in Clerkenwell. This was for a client that had just bought a penthouse. Oh, no, it wasn't a penthouse, it was one down from a penthouse. New property. Again, the client really liked grey. And the client was a furniture company. They supplied furniture from South Africa, or they made the furniture from South Africa, imported it over, and they moved into the flat, and they wanted it to be dressed, and they wanted it just to look appealing for themselves. So it's quite minimal, really, quite modern and minimal. So the sofas, the sideboard, the table, all their own products. And again, the dining area, table, chairs, and the bar stools were all their own products. One of the things that we do also is design furniture. So we can look at a space and create a space. We just do exactly what the client wants. If they want to just have a colour scheme, they can have a colour scheme. And what we find is a lot of people that maybe are renting properties out to clients, or they're selling properties, they give us a budget and they say, we want it to look like this, and we want it to appeal to this market. This is an apartment we did, and this is in your goodie bag. It's just, I write articles, and one of the articles I wrote for was a magazine about this article. It's near St Christopher's Place. It's opposite Selfridges, and this client wanted us to, well, basically they bought the apartment, South African clients, and they wanted us to provide everything for that. So it's called a turnkey service. We designed the furniture. So the furniture, everything right down to the last teacup and saucer was put in. So we also set it all up so we could have it photographed. But basically, you know, for different properties, there are different markets. There are different amounts of money that people want to spend, because for a property like that, you're going to get a lot of money for that rather than the property that I showed you right at the beginning, because it's in the middle of London. People want it to, as people are working in London and they want somewhere to stay in the week, or anything. There's a lot of foreign investors in London and people that just want to stay for a little while. So this one was, again, quite light, south-facing, so very light, very hot. And the client was an artist. So all the artwork, we had to consider the colours in the rooms, because we knew that this artwork was going to be in there at certain colours, so we had to create the colours in the room to complement the artwork. In the bottom picture, you can't see it, but on the back wall there's a picture of a chicken, which I really loved, but it doesn't really quite fit in with the city life, but it was the only bit of colour that we thought we could add a bit of impact in there. And the bedroom, well, obviously you can see that there's a picture above, which is a lady. Now, with this apartment, all the building work was done. So we didn't have to do any of the building work. We were putting in the blinds and really dressing the apartment and providing the furniture, so dressing an empty shell. Sometimes we do the building work, and sometimes we get an empty shell and we have to rebuild everything. And I've got some pictures in a minute of befores and afters. But the downside of this bathroom to your right was that it wasn't an obscure window. So opposite St Christopher's Place, whenever you went to the toilet, you could see somebody else. So you have to duck, you know. Well, the toilet's right in front of the window. It's really good design. Right. This is residential. This is for a client that we still have today in Sevenoaks. Really large house, and this lady cannot visualise. She really cannot. It's taken us absolutely months to do anything with her, because she is so scared of doing the wrong thing, because she can't see in her head how it's going to look. Now, when we go to see a client, we would provide them with loads and loads of visuals, because, as I say, people can't visualise. Now, this room was a games room for her children. I think it's about 11 metres long, and she wanted it to be somewhere where the children would use, because it was at the top of the house and no one used it. Basically, they'd only been in a few months anyway, but so we wanted to make it look more appealing. Red wall, they hated the red wall, but they wanted something with a bit of colour to make it more appealing. So these are all the befores. So no curtains, just really, really minimal things in there. Sofa, purple sofa. We had to design around the sofas. They were staying, and the white furniture was staying, and there was more white pieces of furniture that were coming in. So we were governed by those colours in themselves. But we were told that it was meant to look colourful, jazzy, but she didn't like patterns, she didn't like wallpaper. So it's really hard to make something so big look so appealing and look so lived in, I suppose. They had the big games table. So this is the end result, which actually is on the same there. So purple wall, what we did was all those pictures there, we had loads and loads of pictures from the clients, and we just got them printed up, and they're all of the kids. So they had a story wall, and all framed. So again, lots of really large things. So if you are a property developer or somebody that is looking to develop or to develop your own property, if you have really large areas, and that's not often a common complaint, you know, you need to create areas of interest to make it look more lived in and to make it look more cosy. We use lots of bright colours, and we use clashing colours as well, because the room could take it. So it's quite nice. I would have painted more in there, but anyway. This was a guest bedroom. Again, just nothing in there. Those two bits of furniture, an old bed, and the wardrobe, which we're still hoping that we're going to change. So quite bland, quite boring, really. Oh, that's me. Right. That's the end result. We didn't paint the room. Really, we had to, the headboard was made, we had furniture, the bed was a pop-up one from storage. So again, the client didn't want to put anything in there. She doesn't like mess, she doesn't like any, well, any mess at all. She just likes everything to be neat and tidy. So it's hard to try and create that space, but it depends on what the client wants. You know, if they don't want to have the mess, and they can't see further than that, then that's what they need to have. The cat's dead, it got run over. No, it was a really evil cat. It used to climb up me, and she was trying to get it off, and she would get it. I didn't. I don't know how they could get run over, because it was speed humps in the road, so someone really was out for it. So again, we just had a little desk, and we, you know, just minimal things really, because she didn't want to clutter this guest room up. So that's residential. And then we're looking at, this is a property we did for an investor who'd had this property for a long, long time, and now he wanted us to refurbish it for him to sell it. We had a budget. Well, we sort of had a budget. It was like mid-range, so what's that mean? I had to guess, really. So this is what I wanted to see what sometimes, I mean, there's another project we went afterwards, and there was, what was this, sick? We had to measure around sick, didn't we? I won't tell you what else we had to measure around. But anyway, this is quite clean. So this was the kitchen, as you can see. And there was a lack of storage. One of my big pet hates is when people, and a lot of property developers, and I'm sorry, don't throw anything at me, a lot of property developers, they don't put a lot of storage in places. So you think, well, if I go into the bathroom, where am I going to put my stuff? You know, I've got a toilet bag, I need to put my things somewhere. So my biggest thing is, with everything, is storage, and trying to manipulate space to create as much space as possible in a property. So this kitchen to me was brilliant, because it really needs some storage solutions. And that's the other side. And one of the areas that really we could concentrate on is this side, really, because there's just nothing there. And this was the after pictures. These aren't professional pictures, but these are the afters. So plain, because obviously it's going to sell, but everything there, you know, all the facilities there. And normally people, sometimes people, because we have a budget, sometimes we may go for a cheaper kitchen, but we may put granite tiles or granite on the, you know, the worktop, and granite or slate on the floor. So it just trying to try and, so that we can get the budget right, really. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. So that was the main bathroom, I think. No, it wasn't, it was the ensuite. Loads of pills and stuff. And that was after. Just, again, what we did was we mixed and matched things around. So some of them had limestone, some of them had porcelain, but lots of glass, lots of mirror. Mirror is always very good, just to create more reflections and more space, of visual space. Oh, that's the end. Is that the end? Well, that must be the end. Okay, go back. It does look like the end. No, I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch it at all. So, I have touched it, sorry. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. No, I mean, it depends. We had a budget for that because, I mean, there's more pictures, obviously, you know, that was the penthouse, so we had a certain amount of budget. It just depends, really. We've done, the one in the Beacon one I showed you, we had a lower budget, so you just have to deal with what you've got. If it's really unreasonable, you have to say, look, this is how much you expect to spend in a kitchen, this is how much you get to spend in a bathroom. The thing is, a lot of the problems are that people think, oh, a bathroom doesn't cost much to do. Okay, the materials don't cost much, but it's the labour, and also, it's not just that. You know, how many people can you get in a bathroom any one time? It might be just one or two, but you need to do the plumber, you need to do the electrician, you know, there's also so many services that need to go into that one room, and that's what costs more money, and people don't always appreciate that, I don't think. Mm-hmm. it just depends on, to be honest, it depends on what they expect us to do and what their budget is. And if a lot of the time people won't tell you their budget, even though it's the most sensible thing to do. We're doing a project at the moment, and the chap did tell me his budget, and we're way under the budget, so he's done extras. So I'm not dishonest. I think what Michael was saying is gaining trust of people. And when you gain people's trust, then you know that they're going to be able to tell you things that perhaps they wouldn't have told you before, or things like that. So I'm not answering your question. It's just the fact that it depends what that person wants to do and whether it's achievable with the amount of money that they've asked you to do it with. Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can. Okay. Anybody else?
She was living in Mallorca, and she was an interior designer. Her offer was, because a lot of houses in Mallorca are owned by people who are not there permanently. And she said, I'll put it together in a way that you like it, and you do actually not have to pay me, because I will negotiate with all the tradesmen in Mallorca, so you will end up paying the same as you would do if you buy everything and organize it yourself. So this is one question. Is that part of the deal, or are your services just completely to anything else? Do you have any savings which you bring to
We charge consultancy, and we can get deals with the builders and stuff like that, bearing in mind he's sitting right there. So I get certain deals. You can negotiate that. Generally, generally an interior designer gets 40% discount. 40% of things, so you can negotiate with the interior designer and say, well, we do split it down the middle. So that's sort of the savings.
The second question is there any study or any, information, number on what is the additional added value once an interior designer has worked on the property if you want to sell the property? Because in general, we know if you, let's say, invest £1 into a modernization of a house or to a refurbishment, you get at least £1.50 back, most often more than that, because you do the work to get value.
Yeah.
So how is that with an interior designer?
It's difficult. Say, for example, with the London property that we did that needed refurbishment.
Because he did that, I don't know if this you refer to that, but one way he said he asked us to modernize it so he can sell it.
Yeah.
So,
Because the property he bought in 1980 something was 300,000. And now he knew that if he was going to sell the property at a good state, it was going to be 1.8 million or something like that. So the better the property was, the more up the higher end of the market he could sell it at, and that's why.
but he didn't bring like an estate agent or a surveyor and said, look, the current state is 1.6 million, well, let's invest another 100,000, we can sell it to 1.8.
No, but there's a property he's doing at the moment, which he knows that is an estate. If he doesn't do anything, he's going to make not make a loss, but it's going to be really low end. Whereas if he does something, it's going to be appealing to most, so he can do it at a sort of not high end, but a substantial end. So he's an investor himself, and I think he sort of researches it and just works out that he'll make more money rather than nothing at all, really.
I mean, there's obviously a difference if you make a property from being unsellable or you lose dramatic amount of money to make it marketable as from taking from here to the higher.
Yeah. So the more you do, but the thing is, like anything, when you bought property, even if someone's done it up to the full extent, you might not like it and hate it and want to rip it out. So you have to that's why a lot of us do it in neutral, because it's easier to then add other things to it. Okay, I'm finishing. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sara.